Well, hello, my pickles, my snowflakes, my turtles, my no matter what club, and just the followers that are here. I love that people are coming out from behind the curtain and saying I'm a longtime lurker. I love that. Come on out, introduce yourself. Let's get to know each other. I think it's great. Um, and thank you. Recently, a lot of donations came in, and after my shameless plea, I guess. But thank you. I really appreciate it. It does help. It does help the operations here. You can tell how like big it is between bathrobes and raincoats that it needs a lot to keep going. But I do so appreciate it. And I love doing these videos and I love the responses. And I love to hear about people's growth and how they do it. It was funny this morning. I was just thinking, you know, I remember a high school boyfriend said to me, and that was like 51 years ago. He said, "Don't sweat, don't sweat the small stuff, and it's all small stuff," or something like that. And I'm sure we've heard many variations of that over the years. And isn't that true? Here we are. I was one of them. I was one of the strict keto police, organic police, grass-fed police, no artificial police. And you think about what you were putting in your body before, right? You know, Especially if you were like me, following Weight Watchers and buying all their little novelties, their frozen novelties, and their little boxes of, CANDY and all that kind of CRAP. And, it's like, did you ever read the back of one of those boxes? And you were still losing weight, maybe, unless you were like me and I got to 17 pounds and it's like, wham, you're done, girl. But, we're doing that, and and it's just so funny. And then we go to keto, and I think Mike Carnomad helped me with this, along with other people too, especially Golden Breeze. She comments a lot down below, and I don't even know her real name, but she always has sage wisdom, and she's an alternative day faster. And so if you ever see her Golden Breeze down below, read the comments because she's got a lot of nice wisdom. And wisdom sometimes has been paid for over and over again dearly with our soul, our guts, our head, and and our pocketbooks, right? So we learn. And then she wrote this great comment a couple days ago in one of my videos, responding to one of my videos, and it was great. It's like, so have the Diet Coke, have the bok choy, have the chai tea, something else she said too, um, and enjoy it. It's like, why are we sweating it? I know somebody loves their diet root beer here. Have it. For God's sakes, let's not torture ourselves. I guess that, my philosophy, as of late, has not been about what it is that you're putting in your mouth. It's the habit behind it. Is this nighttime eating? Is this bedtime eating? Are you a car eater? Are you a snacker and you don't even realize it? Are you a nibbler? And it's like, wow, I never even thought about that before. One for me, one for the dinner, one for me, one for the dinner, not even realizing that it could be the most innocuous veggie, but there it is, popping in your mouth, and you don't even realize that it's like something that you're doing, something that could be preventing that cleanness of like the empty stomach, the metabolism that is just hoping that nothing goes into it, so it doesn't kick off any blood sugar or insulin or anything like that, and you stay in fat burning mode. I know that seems so silly, but I think there is something to that whole, keeping it fasting. Now, my disclosure is, of course, I have coffee when I'm not eating, and so I eat one meal a day, and it's not a fruit fly salad, although I'd like it to be. I eat one meal a day, and I have 3 cups of coffee in between. I'm sorry, but it's just these little buggers are just relentless. um, and I just have the coffee. It's part treat, part sustaining me, part that maybe the caffeine jolt. I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that I have my little cup of coffee. It keeps me going, And then eventually it's 24 hours since I last ate, and I'll have my OMAD again. And it just works for me. I'm not telling you to do it. I'm telling you this is what works for me. And I think I've been in maintenance, 4 or 5 years now. I've tweaked as I've gone. I've become mostly carnivore. I've replaced my veggies with my eggs, sometimes with cheese, sometimes not. And my creamer for my coffee is now non-dairy. It's the Keto, Kitu creamer, non-dairy creamer that I have the most. I have Califia Better Half as well. So I have two non-dairy alternatives. So I can have a totally dairy-free day. And, I think my body likes it. I don't think my body reacts to that, like that slice of Havarti or Gouda that I put on my eggs at times. But, it's nice to have some dairy-free days. I guess in the past, for me, it would be a meatless day, right? Well, yeah, not me. So it's funny. I work at the police department, and there's two custodians. One I talk Uber with, and the other one I talk food with. And he's more leaning towards lots of fruits and veggies and shakes and water and things like that, and very low portions of meat. And of course, he knows I'm on the opposite end of that spectrum. And it's just funny because it's like, he dropped 10 pounds by hardcore smoothies, and I'm not really losing any more weight, although I did lose a pound or 14 ounces in the month of May. And I weigh myself once a month. So if you're a chronic weigher, so anyway, it comes back to the habits. This isn't about me. This is about us. And, just becoming aware of like what your habit could be. You might not even think that it is a habit, that it is a learned behavior, that eventually it would be in your best interest to give up. Amazing, huh? Now, I know a lot of people love their chocolate at the end of their only meal for the day or their last meal for the day. And I think, somebody with some wisdom said, just have it right after you finish that last meal. So it's not like you have that meal, you go do dishes, you do laundry, stuff like that, and then you have your chocolate before bed. That kind of kicks in what your body is seeing as another meal, even if it's only like 4 squares of chocolate. So to keep it all in that one meal, I was doing that when I was sad, when I was a sad eater, standard American diet. There was something about that made sense. Just, slow it down and stop it. At the end of the meal, have your sweet and be done. And so just a suggestion. As far as the nighttime eating and the bedtime eating, it's not easy. It's not going to be easy. Just like when I gave up my gum, it wasn't easy. It was a firmly entrenched habit. And like a lot of us, I think that a habit equaling a crutch is a BBC, a better bad choice. And it's not necessarily a better bad choice. It might get us through. It might carry us until we decide. Just like people with the Torani syrups. They know that they're overdoing it when you put 1/4 of a cup of the Torani syrup in 1 cup of coffee. And things like that. We know it's something that we eventually might have to look at. Like me with my coffee. I'm so not there right now. That is one of my small pleasures that I enjoy. It keeps me going. It gives me something to look forward to in my non-eating hours of the day. It just does. And so I do that. The nighttime eating, that was tough. The bedtime eating, that was tough. They kind of went hand in hand. And I've often said here that what I do after my OMAD is I do my dental hygiene routine. And yeah, I'm a poet. And I do my dental hygiene routine, and that says to my brain after so many years, you're done, girly. You're done. That's it. Over. But my gut isn't saying, I want more. I want more, because I seem to have found what works for me in like volume, fat, satiation. It's all those silly little things that end up, whatever I had for that meal, by the time it reaches my belly, it's like, that one worked. And it's almost unconscious because I'm so used to my portions, my little pink flamingo fiesta plate, that, I know that's my portion. Like tonight will be the fathead pizza, and it's more like a fathead meat lover's pizza because there's slices of a lot of different meats on top. And I have that, and it just works. It just works. I have my a bread and butter fiesta plate, and I have my little pieces of the keto pizza, and it satiates me. And I know it's usually 11 of those little squares that I make, and that's done. I love it. It works. Yes, it's 3 little plates. It's not like 11 pieces on the one little plate. But, I do have my routine, and my head is equalizing my tummy with, like, as it hits my stomach and what's going to work, and what ends up making me content and satiated. And is it a game that I play? Well, sure. I mean, I guess I make little games out of most of my day. Like, now that I'm doing Uber, I can get some food prepping done, and then I get a call and I go and I come back and I continue the food prepping. I don't do anything that's like on the stove or with the oven, obviously, because I just can't leave those things going because I don't know where where my Ubering's going to take me. But I do things like, cutting up a lot of Greg's things because he has a lot of the same things with his meal in that spread that some of you have seen. And so it's the same thing when I sit down to my food. I know what works. And that it's such a comfort to get to know yourself and equals one in the things that work. For the person that has the diet root beer, stop beating yourself up. Enjoy it. It's a diet root beer. Remember what we used to eat? Remember how the middle aisles were like our BFFs, and we'd go down and it's like, oh, a new sugar cereal. Oh, great. Oh, another type of bread. Oh, boy. Or later on, oh, another keto supplement that's only $40, and I can have a scoop a day, and they guarantee that I'm going to lose 5 pounds in a month. Ugh, no. You don't need scoops. You don't need measuring cups. You don't need to buy those expensive products. You need to just get simplified, right? And there's another thing that I never thought would happen. Like somebody, I don't know, people make comments, like, what do you have, beef and eggs every day? Uh-huh. Just different cuts of beef. Like last night was the eye of the round and leftover ribeye. Both of those were leftover. I had my 2 Pete and Jerry jumbo eggs with my slice of Havarti on it. And it's like, I'm in heaven. I'm okay. I never get tired of the taste of that. I'm lucky. Was that something that I developed? I don't know. I don't think I woke up with the idea of like I could eat the same thing every single day and not get sick of it. Perhaps I just was guided to it. And the thing is even on those nights that I've had those pork chops done on the grill and then finished in a copper pan on top of the oven, it wasn't as filling as the beef. So the next time I had that pork chop, this was in last week's food, I had to have some beef along with it. My body knows that if I'm having beef, I'm going to be satiated. Whether it's 93% Laura's lean beef with extra butter, like, after the burger's made, I do a slit on the top of the burger, like before the cheese, and put butter. Oh, yes, I do. That's the fat. That's what makes the 93% lean, have an availability for a little bit of my own Kerrygold butter. But I learned that, I've learned what works for me. Pan drippings put over the burger, or the butter of reheating the ribeye, that Greg cooks extra rare on the egg, pouring that over the ribeye and using it kind of as a gravy. I know that Marla uses her friend gives her farm fresh eggs every day, and she has, she considers the yolk her gravy. And it's like, so we all have certain things that we get very used to. They just work for us. They're satiating. A year ago, would I have thought that? 2 years ago, no way. I was still keto. I was still strict, but I hadn't brought it down to like what works for me. And it's finding what works for you too, and equals one. If you have one of those little small pleasure treat things going on and you feel you still need it, it's a crutch versus, a way of eating. It's a better bad choice. Enjoy it until it's time. Because when it's time, it'll be time. And once you make that decision to not, then you go with it. You suffer a bit of a withdrawal, more for the habit, I think, than the item itself. But that's what you do. And eventually you find that, oh, I've gone a week with my yellow packets. Wow, that's great. And it is great. But, it's going to take a decision made. Sometimes you're given a choice, especially in the summer with all of the foods that are offered at barbecues and things like that. It's going to be a choice to what you have. If you've made the decision that you're not going to have that certain choice if offered, and it's probably a good thing to get that in place now before, the rest of June, July, and August with the cookouts. So you have the verbiage in place, you have the decision already made in your head. It's a no. It's a no. It's like sometimes I laugh when I've had my quota, and I have. I've had my quota of brownie batter mix. I've had my quota of, pints and quarts of ice cream. I've had my quota. It's not going to taste any better, any different, make me feel any better, any different. In fact, I'm going to feel pretty hinny. I'm going to feel hinny. I'm going to feel hatred, remorse, you get a lot of emotions for the bang in the food taste if you veer off your path. And is it worth it? Maybe not. So, all my pickle snowflakes, turtles, and no matter what club members, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you watched. And I will see you the next time here on Pearls of Wisdom and Food with me, Sarah. Thank you so much for watching. And come out behind the curtain and introduce yourself. I love it. Bye-bye for now.